My dear friends, have you ever wondered what makes some women shine in every walk of life? They may not always be the loudest in the room, nor the most celebrated by the world. But there is something about their presence, their discipline, and their wisdom that naturally sets them apart. Success, after all, is not only about achievements, money, or fame. It is about balance, impact, and inner fulfillment. When we look at the lives of those who have truly excelled, one of the most striking qualities we notice is their clarity of purpose. It is almost as if they carry within them a compass that constantly directs their steps, no matter how rough the path may be. This clarity does not mean they always know the entire journey, but it means they know where their heart is pointed, and that direction becomes their anchor. Without clarity, life becomes a series of random efforts, like running in circles and mistaking exhaustion for progress. But with clarity, even a single step holds meaning. Even a setback feels like part of the process, and even silence feels like preparation for something greater. A successful woman understands that clarity of purpose is not something she stumbles upon by accident, but something she cultivates through reflection and honesty with herself. She pauses to ask questions that many ignore. Why am I doing this? What do I want my life to stand for? What kind of impact do I wish to leave behind? These questions may not always yield immediate answers, but they awaken the mind and stir the soul. Gradually, through observation, experience, and inner dialogue, the answers begin to surface. This is where her strength lies, not in knowing everything, but in daring to ask deeply. There is a story often seen in everyday life. Two people may work in the same office, sit at the same desk, and do the same job. Yet one feels empty and unfulfilled, while the other feels energized and alive. What makes the difference? It is not the task itself, but the meaning behind the task. The one who has clarity sees their work as part of a bigger purpose, maybe to support a family, maybe to build a career of service, maybe to grow into a person of greater skill and responsibility. Purpose transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary ones. It turns routine into ritual and gives even the smallest effort a sense of dignity. Clarity also protects from distractions. In today's world, there are countless voices pulling us in every direction. Social media tells us one thing, society expects another, friends may push us towards different choices, and our fears whisper yet another story. Without clarity, we become like a leaf blown by the wind, constantly changing direction depending on where the breeze flows. But with clarity, we become like a rooted tree. The storms may come, the winds may howl, but we remain grounded, steady, and strong. For successful women, clarity is not just about professional ambition. It is about values, priorities, and alignment. She knows what kind of relationships she wants to nurture, what kind of lifestyle she wishes to live, and what kind of person she aspires to become. This clarity helps her say no to what does not serve her higher vision, and yes to the choices that strengthen her growth. She doesn't waste energy trying to please everyone, because she knows not every voice deserves authority over her path. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about clarity of purpose is that it inspires others. People are naturally drawn to those who know where they are going. There is a certain peace, a certain confidence that radiates from a person who has direction. Even when they face failure, they rise with resilience because their purpose is bigger than a single setback. They do not measure life only by success or failure, but by alignment with what they truly believe in. That is why clarity of purpose becomes not only the foundation of personal success, but also the spark that ignites hope in others. One of the biggest misconceptions people carry is the belief that motivation is enough to succeed. Motivation feels exciting, it gives us energy, and it inspires us to dream big. But motivation is like the spark of a match. It burns brightly for a moment, then fades away. Discipline, on the other hand, is like the steady flame of a lamp, burning consistently and guiding us through darkness. Successful women understand this truth very deeply. They do not depend on fleeting feelings of motivation to carry them forward. They build their lives around discipline, knowing that consistency is more powerful than bursts of inspiration. There are days when waking up early feels impossible, when responsibilities feel overwhelming, and when the mind whispers, "Just rest, leave it for tomorrow." Motivation often fails us in such moments. But discipline stands firm. Discipline is the voice that says, "You promised yourself this." You cannot let your temporary feelings decide the direction of your future. This ability to act regardless of mood is what creates results. For a woman striving to grow, discipline becomes her closest companion, guiding her step by step, even when the journey feels heavy. Think of a student preparing for an exam. The motivated student studies passionately for 2 days and then loses focus when boredom sets in. The disciplined student, however, studies a little every day, whether she feels like it or not. When the exam comes, the difference is clear. Life works the same way. It does not reward the one who works only when inspired, but the one who shows up consistently, rain or shine, tired or energized. Successful women understand that showing up every day with discipline matters more than showing up occasionally with motivation. The discipline is also the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Many people dream of success, but few achieve it, not because their dreams are unworthy, but because their discipline is weak. Dreams are fragile until habits give them strength. A woman who wishes to be healthy does not depend on motivation to exercise. She builds a disciplined routine. A woman who wishes to excel in her career does not wait for the perfect mood to learn or work. She commits to regular effort. Over time, discipline shapes character, and character shapes destiny. Another important aspect is that discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive. It demands sacrifice, it requires structure, and it forces us to give up comfort. But over time, this discipline creates a life of greater freedom and control. For instance, Disciplined financial habits lead to financial independence. Disciplined use of time leads to more meaningful productivity. Disciplined care for the body leads to health and energy. What feels like restriction in the moment becomes liberation in the long run. Successful women also recognize that discipline is not about perfection. They too face failures. They too feel weak, and they too sometimes stumble. But discipline is about getting back on track quickly, not allowing one bad day to turn into a bad week or a bad month. They treat discipline like a muscle, something that grows stronger the more it is exercised. At first, it feels heavy and difficult, but with persistence, it becomes natural, almost effortless. And perhaps the most remarkable thing about discipline is the respect it earns. People admire talent, but they trust discipline. A woman who consistently shows up for herself and for others builds credibility that cannot be faked. Discipline demonstrates seriousness, reliability, and commitment, and these qualities naturally attract opportunities, respect, and lasting success. There is something extraordinary about people who never stop learning. They carry with them a spark of curiosity that keeps their minds alive and their spirits young. Successful women know that the world is constantly evolving, and to remain stagnant is to fall behind. They understand that education does not end with school or university. It is a lifelong process. Every experience, every conversation, every challenge, and every book becomes a source of wisdom when approached with the right mindset. Learning is not just about gathering information, it is about expanding vision, sharpening judgment, and refining the ability to make wise decisions. A woman who invests in continuous learning develops a kind of quiet power. She is not easily shaken by change because she has trained herself to adapt, to grow, and to see challenges as opportunities for discovery. Instead of saying, "I don't know," she says, "I will learn." Instead of being intimidated by what she does not yet understand, she approaches it with curiosity and patience. This attitude not only builds confidence, but also sets her apart in any field she chooses to step into. Consider the workplace. For example, two women may begin at the same position. One limits herself to what she already knows, while the other actively seeks to grow, reading, asking questions, and learning new skills. After a few years, their paths are no longer the same. The one who invested in learning has naturally risen higher, not because she was luckier, but because she prepared herself for greater responsibility. Opportunities tend to find those who are ready, and readiness comes through learning. Continuous learning is also about humility. It takes courage to admit, "I don't know enough, and I can still grow." Many people let pride or fear stop them from asking questions, but successful women embrace humility as a strength. They know that every person they meet, regardless of background, has something to teach them. They learn not only from experts, but also from life itself, from mistakes, from failures, from observing the struggles of others. This humility keeps their minds open and their growth unstoppable. Another powerful benefit of continuous learning is resilience. Life often presents unexpected challenges, a sudden career shift, a financial crisis, a personal setback. Those who never invested in learning struggle to adapt. But those who are constantly learning have a greater toolkit to face difficulties. A woman who has read widely, reflected deeply, and practiced problem solving in different areas of life can navigate storms with wisdom. Her learning becomes her shield, her strength, and her guide in uncertain times. This investment is not only intellectual, it is emotional and spiritual as well. A successful woman learns to understand her own mind, to manage her emotions, and to develop inner stability. She may practice meditation, read spiritual wisdom, or engage in meaningful dialogue that broadens her heart and mind. In this way, learning becomes more than acquiring knowledge. It becomes a path to inner growth and transformation. Perhaps the most inspiring part of continuous learning is how it multiplies impact. A woman who learns is not only growing for herself, but also for the people she will influence. Her children, her colleagues, her friends, all benefit from her wisdom. She becomes a source of inspiration, someone who shows by example that life does not have to become repetitive or dull, but can remain fresh, exciting, and full of discovery at every stage. Strength alone can make someone powerful. But without compassion, that power can feel cold, harsh, and distant. On the other hand, the compassion alone can make someone gentle, but without strength, it may be mistaken for weakness. Successful women understand the art of balancing these two qualities, and it is in this balance that they find true influence and grace. They know when to stand firm and when to soften, when to draw boundaries, and when to extend kindness. This balance is not always easy to maintain, but it is what allows them to lead, inspire, and nurture without losing themselves in the process. A woman who embodies strength knows how to protect her dignity, make difficult choices, and remain steady during storms. Life inevitably brings moments when resilience is tested, when criticism is loud, and when challenges seem overwhelming. Strength is what allows her to face these moments with courage rather than retreat. Yet, at the same time, she does not allow this strength to harden her heart. She keeps her compassion alive, remembering that others too are fighting unseen battles. She chooses not to respond with cruelty or bitterness, but with understanding. This delicate balance is what gives her presence a rare beauty. She becomes both unshakable and deeply human at the same time. In relationships, this balance becomes even more important. Strength allows her to set healthy boundaries, to say no when her values are at stake, and to protect herself from being taken for granted. Compassion, however, allows her to listen, to forgive, and to offer support when others are in need. Without strength, she may lose herself in pleasing others. Without compassion, she may isolate herself and build walls too high for anyone to reach her. But with both, she becomes someone who can love without losing her voice and lead without losing her heart. This balance is also seen in leadership. A successful woman who leads with only strength may command obedience, but rarely wins loyalty. A leader who leads only with compassion may be loved, but may not be respected in times of tough decision making. When the two qualities are balanced, she earns both respect and love. People follow her not out of fear or dependency, but out of genuine admiration. They know she will stand strong when circumstances demand it. Yet she will never forget the human side of every decision. This kind of leadership is rare, and it leaves a lasting impact wherever she goes. The world often tries to push women to choose between strength and compassion, as if the two cannot coexist. Some are told to harden themselves to be taken seriously, while others are told to soften endlessly to be accepted. But the truth is, real success comes when these qualities are not seen as opposites, but as partners. Strength gives structure, compassion gives warmth. Strength builds resilience, compassion builds connection. Together, they create a presence that uplifts everyone around. What makes this balance even more remarkable is that it inspires others to do the same. People who meet such a woman feel encouraged to stand taller in their own strength, while also remembering to stay kind. Her example becomes a mirror, reminding others that it is possible to be firm without being cruel, and gentle without being weak. This is why balancing strength with compassion is not only a personal practice, but also a gift to the world. Time is one of the most valuable treasures a human being possesses, yet it is often the most carelessly spent. Unlike money, time cannot be earned back once it is gone. Unlike possessions, it cannot be stored away for later use. Every tick of the clock is a part of our life that is quietly slipping away. Successful women recognize this truth deeply, and that is why they treat their time as something sacred. They do not allow it to be wasted on distractions, shallow pursuits, or endless comparisons. Instead, they invest it wisely, carefully choosing where their energy goes, because they know that how they spend their hours will shape the quality of their life. Managing time does not mean filling every moment with business. In fact, it is the opposite. It means prioritizing what truly matters and letting go of what does not. Many people confuse activity with productivity, rushing through tasks, yet accomplishing little of real value. A woman who has learned to treasure her time understands the difference. She asks herself before committing, will this take me closer to my purpose? Will this bring meaning to my life? If the answer is no, she has the strength to decline politely but firmly. This ability to say no is not selfishness. It is wisdom. It is an acknowledgement that time is too precious to be handed over to things that drain rather than nourish. Such women also know the importance of structure. They do not drift aimlessly through the day, hoping to find productivity by accident. They plan, they set priorities, and they create rhythms that support both their responsibilities and their inner well-being. This planning does not make life rigid, it makes it purposeful. When she chooses to work, she works with focus, When she chooses to rest, she rests without guilt. This balance allows her to achieve more without burning out, to enjoy life while still progressing steadily toward her goals. There is also a profound humility in how successful women view time. They understand that life itself is limited and that awareness keeps them grounded. Rather than wasting hours in resentment, gossip, or regret, they choose to focus on growth, gratitude, and contribution. They realize that every wasted moment is not just lost time. It is a lost opportunity to live, to love, to learn, and to give. This perspective transforms even simple daily activities into meaningful experiences. Cooking a meal becomes an act of love. Spending time with family becomes a memory in the making. And working toward dreams becomes a sacred offering of one's effort. Managing time like treasure also means avoiding the trap of chasing endless validation. Many people lose countless hours trying to prove themselves to others, scrolling endlessly for approval, or worrying about opinions that do not matter. A successful woman knows her time is too valuable for that. She does not allow her life to revolve around comparison. Instead, she measures her progress by her own values and her own goals. This gives her a sense of freedom and direction that cannot be shaken by external noise. Perhaps the most beautiful quality of women who manage their time wisely is how they create space not only for work but also for reflection, relationships, and rest. They understand that time is not only meant to be productive but also to be cherished. They spend it with loved ones, they pause to reflect in silence, and they nurture their health. In doing so, they remind us all that true success is not in doing more but in living well. Life is not meant to be walked alone. Every journey becomes lighter when shared. Every joy feels richer when celebrated together. And every sorrow feels bearable when carried with the support of others. Successful women recognize this truth and place great importance on building relationships that are not only meaningful, but also resilient. They do not look for temporary connections that crumble under pressure, but for bonds that can withstand challenges, misunderstandings, and the test of time. Such relationships become their anchors, giving them strength when the storms of life arrive. A resilient relationship is not one that avoids conflict, but one that survives it. There will always be disagreements, differences, and moments of tension. But what distinguishes a strong bond from a fragile one is the ability to resolve, forgive, and move forward without allowing cracks to become permanent divisions. A successful woman understands this, and so she invests in communication, honesty, and empathy. She listens not only to words, but also to the emotions behind them. She speaks with clarity, but also with kindness, making space for others to feel heard and valued. In this way, she builds trust that can endure the difficulties of life. She also recognizes the importance of surrounding herself with people who uplift rather than drain. Not every relationship deserves equal space in her life. She is wise enough to identify which connections bring growth, encouragement, and peace, and which only bring negativity and doubt. Protecting her inner circle is not about pride, it is about self-preservation. By keeping the right people close, she ensures that she has a network of support in moments when her own strength is tested. At the same time, building resilient relationships is not about what she receives, but also about what she gives. She is not afraid to stand by others in their moments of weakness, to offer her time, her energy, and her compassion when they need it most. Her loyalty is not conditional on convenience. She knows that trust is built not only in good times, but also in moments when someone feels broken, lost, or alone. The ability to stand with others when they are at their lowest is what deepens bonds beyond the surface level. Resilient relationships are also grounded in patience. Growth takes time, healing takes time, and understanding another human being takes time. A successful woman does not expect perfection from others because she knows she herself is not perfect. Instead, she embraces patience as a tool to nurture stronger connections. She does not give up on people too easily, and yet, she knows when a relationship is truly unhealthy and when it must be released. This wisdom allows her to protect her own peace while still practicing compassion for others. What makes these relationships even more powerful is the way they reflect in her larger journey. When she has strong bonds with family, friends, mentors, or colleagues, she is able to walk into challenges with confidence, knowing she is not alone. These connections serve as her foundation, reminding her of who she is and what she stands for. They keep her grounded when she is celebrated and lift her up when she feels discouraged. In the end, the resilience of her relationships is not built overnight. It is built through consistent care, through mutual respect, and through the willingness to face challenges side by side. It is this commitment that allows such relationships to grow deeper with time rather than weaker. For a successful woman, these bonds are not just a part of her journey. They are part of her strength, her joy, and her legacy. Fear is a natural part of life. It whispers doubts into the heart. It magnifies obstacles, and it makes the unknown feel terrifying. Fear says, "You are not ready. You are not good enough. You will fail if you try." And yet, those who succeed are not the ones who never feel fear, but the ones who refuse to let it control their steps. Successful women understand this deeply. They experience fear like everyone else, but they choose faith as their guiding force. Faith does not mean the absence of fear, it means moving forward despite fear, trusting that there is something greater on the other side of uncertainty. When a woman chooses faith, she replaces the question, "What if I fail?" with "What if I rise?" This shift in perspective transforms her life. Fear looks at the risk of falling, but faith looks at the possibility of growth. Fear holds her back, but faith pushes her forward. Every breakthrough in her journey, every moment of courage, is born from this choice to believe in something beyond the present fear. It could be faith in her abilities, faith in her preparation, faith in the lessons hidden in failure, or faith in a higher power that guides her steps. Whatever its source, this faith becomes the foundation of her strength. The truth is, fear often disguises itself as protection. It says, stay safe, don't take risks, don't step into the unknown. But in reality, fear is not protecting her. It is limiting her. It builds invisible walls around her dreams, keeping her trapped in comfort while the life she longs for waits beyond. A successful woman understands that real safety is not found in avoiding challenges, but in growing through them. She chooses faith because faith gives her the courage to step out of the comfort zone, to take risks that align with her vision, and to trust that even if she stumbles, she will rise stronger. Consider the countless women who have built careers, led communities, or created change in the world. None of them began without fear. They faced criticism, doubt, and moments of loneliness. But what kept them moving was their faith. Faith that their work mattered, that their voice was valuable, and that their journey had meaning, even when the results were not immediate. This faith gave them resilience, and resilience gave them victory. Faith also creates peace. Fear makes the heart restless, filling it with worry about tomorrow. But faith anchors the heart in trust. A woman of faith does not waste her life imagining worst-case scenarios. Instead, she places her energy in preparing, working, and believing that the path will unfold as it should. This calmness allows her to act with clarity instead of panic. She becomes steady in moments where others break, not because the storm is weaker for her, but because her faith is stronger. What makes this choice even more beautiful is how it influences others. When people see a woman choosing faith over fear, they are inspired to do the same. Her courage becomes contagious, her trust becomes uplifting, and her example becomes a silent encouragement for others to rise above their own doubts. She shows that fear may knock at the door, but it does not have to be invited in to stay. Choosing faith over fear is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. Every morning, she must decide whether to let fear hold her back or faith guide her forward. And each time she chooses faith, she grows stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable. This is how she builds a life not defined by limitations, but by possibilities, not shaped by fear, but illuminated by courage. Gratitude is one of the simplest practices, yet one of the most transformative. It has the power to shift the mind from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to appreciation, from heaviness to lightness. Successful women understand this deeply. No matter how high they climb or how much they achieve, they never lose the ability to pause and say, "Thank you." Gratitude grounds them. It reminds them that every step of progress, every blessing in their life, is not theirs alone, but a result of countless unseen contributions, opportunities, guidance, support, and even challenges that shape their strength. Practicing gratitude daily does not mean life is free from pain or difficulty. It means choosing to focus on what is still good, even in the middle of struggles. When faced with challenges, Gratitude whispers, you are still learning, you are still growing, you are still alive to try again. This mindset allows them to turn difficulties into lessons and losses into wisdom. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it gives it purpose. It transforms suffering into resilience and setbacks into stepping stones. A grateful woman does not take small things for granted. She values the meal on her table, the kindness of a friend, the lessons from her past, and even the silent breath that sustains her. Where others might complain about what is missing, she notices what is present. This habit gives her a kind of inner richness that no material possession can match. Even if she owns little, she feels abundant because gratitude magnifies every blessing until it feels overflowing. This daily practice also keeps pride away. Gratitude reminds her that success is not achieved alone. Behind every accomplishment lies the encouragement of mentors, the sacrifices of family, the cooperation of colleagues, and the silent grace of opportunities that life offered her. This humility allows her to remain approachable and kind even as she rises. People are drawn to her not only for her achievements, but for her grounded spirit, which acknowledges others along the way. Gratitude also creates joy. A grateful heart is naturally lighter, less burdened by comparison or envy. Where many spend time chasing what others have, she invests time appreciating what she already holds. This shift makes her content yet ambitious, peaceful yet motivated. Gratitude does not make her passive. Instead, it energizes her to work harder because she begins her efforts not from a place of emptiness, but from fullness. She works not to fill a void, but to expand an already abundant life. In relationships, gratitude is a powerful glue. She does not take people for granted. She notices the small acts of care, the words of encouragement, the sacrifices made quietly, and she acknowledges them. A simple thank you, spoken sincerely, can strengthen bonds more than grand gestures ever could. Her gratitude makes others feel valued, and in return, they give her loyalty, respect, and love. Even in solitude, gratitude becomes her companion. She may keep a journal, writing down the blessings of the day, or she may simply reflect in silence, whispering thanks for the gift of life itself. These small acts of gratitude accumulate, shaping her attitude, protecting her from negativity, and keeping her spirit aligned with positivity. Over time, gratitude becomes more than a practice. It becomes her way of seeing the world.